Alright, now look at this puller. I've just lined it up and brought this up holding the inside nut with just a crescent wrench. And now I'm going to take a look at something here. This is important when you're putting this together. If this flywheel's on tight and you have to put considerable power here, make sure that the bolts are in about even. Now these are kind of a bunch of mismatched bolts that our engine guy here is using. I couldn't really find a full set, and they might go into slightly different depths. But this happens all the time when you're putting a puller together anyway. Threads are stiff, the bolts have been tweaked before, the threads in the flywheel might be bad. This is metric. These are, I believe, a 10 millimeter by 1.5, maybe 1.25. But I think they are 10 by 1.5, very close to what the head studs are, 3/8 16. Careful, because these head studs will thread right in. But if it's really on there, which a lot of these are, you'll rip them right out and you'll have to drill it to the next size up. So the fix here is I'm just going to back it off. Let me see if I can do it without holding the nut. Yeah, enough to get some movement here. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take this one out. That's a little bit too long. And of course this is a little bit harder when you're trying to use one hand. I need like a head mount for the iPhone. We're just going to take and slip another good sized washer. Alright, this part's hard with one hand, but here we go. And if our bolt doesn't have too big a damaged area. Alright. Hey, iPhone works as punch. Just a boogered up area on the bolt. That's a very close fitting washer. So now, as we tighten this in, we've gained a good, maybe close to 1/10 of an inch here. We can see that as we draw this in, now when we look straight down, you can try to sight down the length of the bolts where the heads are. I just look at the parallelism here. If you look straight down at it and turn the engine, which now there's no head, no compression, nothing really going on here, you can see that the pistons just go up and down. You just turn it with one hand. So what you can do, and you can even cheat a little bit and put your wrench on it, and you can see that as you rotate it, it's hard to tell when I'm standing here with a phone, but you can see that that flange is pretty well parallel, so that when you push on this bolt, you're pushing on the center of the crank. Because again, if these are tight and you have this uneven, it'll warp off to one side, that bolt will skew off center and not push straight, and you'll probably end up breaking these bolts or tearing the threads out at least. So now I'm pretty happy with how this looks. I'm going to see if I can come up with a way of holding this so that I can well, let's see what happens if I try to prop it up here. We'll take a little time out.